The Heart of the Mountain. Chapter 1. Deep in the mountains of Kashar, where the wind whispers ancient secrets and snow blankets the silent valleys in white, there lay a village forgotten by time. Isolated from the modern world, it rested among icy peaks and sleeping forests, where nature seemed frozen in an endless winter. There lived Selene, a young woman with a serene gaze and a contemplative soul, daughter of a humble goat herder and granddaughter of a blind elder known among the villagers as the one who heard God's voice in the silence of the stars. From her earliest steps, Selene had grown up by the fireside, listening to ancient tales her grandmother told about the universal Father, a God who dwelled not in temples nor revealed himself through loud miracles, but who lived within the spirit of every living being. This God was full of paradoxes, majestic as the sky, yet intimate as a whisper in the ear, invisible to human eyes, yet felt in compassion and faith. A God who was just, but deeply merciful. Life in the village was harsh. Winters seemed never-ending, coating the fields in ice and making harvests scarce. Scarcity was the norm, and for many, faith had become a distant echo. Many no longer believed in heavenly promises. They chose the immediate warmth of bread over the invisible hope of a better tomorrow. But Selene was different. Inside her burned a stubborn flame, a quiet but steadfast faith that withstood the bitter winds of despair. She often repeated her grandmother's words like a sacred mantra: God is love, and love never abandons. Even when the cold bit to the bone and hunger knocked at the door, Selene kept her eyes fixed on the sky, patiently and confidently awaiting a promise made before time itself was born. Then, one morning that seemed no different from any other, the mountain roared. A colossal avalanche, as if the earth itself wept, thundered down on the village with uncontrollable fury. The ground trembled, trees were uprooted, and snow swallowed everything in its path. Homes were buried, families torn apart, dreams shattered without warning. Selene survived, but not unscathed. Her father was found lifeless, and her mother vanished beneath the white shroud of destruction. Amid the rubble and collective grief, many raised their fists to the sky, shouting, "Where is this God of love now?" But Selene, knees trembling and eyes brimming with tears, did not rebel. She walked among the ruins, knelt on the snow stained with sorrow, and with her heart broken, she prayed. She did not ask for justice, nor demand answers. In her silent prayer, she asked for understanding. She sought wisdom to accept life's mystery. She begged for strength to keep loving, even in absence, even in loss. In that moment, wrapped in biting cold and echoing suffering, Selene understood something words cannot explain: that true love, the love born of God, can bloom even beneath the weight of 1,000 snows, and that even when all seems lost, love never abandons. It simply transforms into faith, into comfort, into hope. Chapter 2. In the days following the tragedy, the village sank into a heavy silence, as if even the wind had chosen to mourn. Help, promised by distant authorities, those who seemed to remember the village only at election time, never arrived. The snow kept falling, and with it, the survivors' despair deepened. Many shut themselves inside their half-ruined homes, afraid of both the cold and the emptiness left by loss. But Selene rose, not with grand gestures or fiery speeches, but with simple acts and a steady gaze. Wrapped in her patched wool cloak, she went from house to house, knocking on doors, offering what little she had: stale bread torn in half, a bit of warm broth, and above all, words that warmed more than fire. She sat beside those who wept in silence, tended the elders' wounds with medicinal leaves gathered from the mountain's foothills, and gathered orphan children around a makeshift fire, sharing stories her grandmother had taught her, tales of hope, courage, and a God who dwells even in the darkest days. She had no gold, no land, no titles, no political influence or powerful contacts. What she had was something time could not erode. Faith. A living faith, not hidden behind rituals or empty words, but shown through action. A faith that brought spring to the hearts of people even in the dead of winter. Then, one evening, an old man who lived isolated in the mountains, known for avoiding contact with the villagers, approached Selene. His eyes, marked by decades of solitude and distrust, fixed on her with a mix of curiosity and reverence. In a hoarse voice, he asked, "Why do you do all this? You have lost as much as we have, perhaps even more." Selene paused, looking at him with tenderness, recognizing in him a pain she too carried. Then, with a calm and radiant smile, she answered, "I do this because God's love calls me to be an answer, not just another question in the midst of pain. I do not understand all the ways of the Most High, and perhaps I never will. But I know His nature. He is love. And where there is love, even in crumbs, even in tears, there He is." Her simple, truthful words planted seeds in the hardened heart of that man. And not just in his. Slowly, something began to change in the devastated village. No, the problems didn't disappear. The cold remained biting. Hunger still knocked on doors, and losses could not be undone. But something subtle and powerful arose. People began to see each other again. They began to listen, to help, to share rather than hide. Mourning gave way to solidarity. And every gesture of Selene's, each silent embrace, every shared loaf, each whispered prayer in the dark, awakened something nearly forgotten. An old man called it strength. A hunter, used to the solitude of the forest, called it light. The blind elder, with her quiet gift, simply smiled and whispered to the wind, "It is the universal Father. He is loving through her." And so, in that small corner hidden beneath Kashar's eternal snows, the invisible became visible. Love took form, and faith became a seed. Chapter 3. One night, under the full moon that cast a silver, silent glow over the snow-capped peaks, Selene made her way toward the frozen spring at the edge of the village. The wind was biting cold, slicing through her skin like invisible blades, yet she pressed on steadily, carrying her old wooden bucket. It was a routine but necessary task. Even though the water lay beneath thick layers of ice, the villagers broke the surface daily to meet their needs. As she stepped onto a rock dusted with a thin layer of snow, Selene suddenly slipped. Her body fell hard against the frozen ground, a sharp pain shooting through her leg and shoulder. The bucket tumbled away. She tried to move, but a dull, sharp snap confirmed her worst fear. The break was severe. Alone, far from the village, the cold began to seize her body. Her fingers no longer responded, and even her breathing slowed, as if time itself was slipping away. Wrapped in pain, cold, and solitude, Selene gazed up at the vast, silent, starry sky above. The stars seemed closer that night, as if listening to her heart. In a fragile whisper, she offered a prayer to the infinite. "Father, if this is my time, thank you. Thank you for letting me love, even if only for a short while. May others carry on what I have begun. May the fire never go out." It was then, as she drifted toward unconsciousness, that she felt something unexpected. A warm hand gently resting on her cold forehead. Her eyes fluttered open, and through the haze of pain, she recognized a familiar face. It was the solitary elder, the very man who once lived apart from everyone, hidden among the pines and mountain shadows. Without a word, he lifted her onto his shoulders with effort and determination. And slowly but surely, he made his way back to the village, braving the biting cold. That night, the man who had once fled from the world became a refuge, Selene was embraced by the very community she had helped rebuild. She remained bedridden for weeks, her body aching and healing, but her spirit fully alive. From the window of her cabin, she watched over the village she loved, and what surprised her most was that she no longer needed to stand to see goodness flourish. Young people helped the elders with respect and joy. Neighbors knocked on each other's doors to offer hot soup, not to ask for it. Children who barely spoke before now sang songs of hope around the fires. Forgotten prayers were once again lifted, not out of obligation, but from gratitude. And for the first time in many, many years, there was song. There was laughter. There was life. The snow no longer felt just cold. It seemed to shine with a different light. With tears in her eyes, Selene realized deeply and silently, God's love is not only something we feel in sacred moments, it is what transforms us. It is what makes us a bridge between heaven and earth, a flame that kindles in other souls when we remain faithful to kindness. Remembering the ancient words her grandmother had often repeated from the sacred book, she murmured with renewed conviction, "The Universal Father does not shout or force. He offers himself like the sun that warms without demanding devotion. And when someone welcomes him in their heart, they become his living reflection in the world." That night, Selene understood that, though wounded, she was whole, and that even lying down, she remained a beacon, because true love does not depend on the strength of the body, but on the surrender of the soul. Chapter 4. Years passed, and time, which changes everything, did not spare Selene. She grew older, her hair now woven with silver strands, and her body bore the gentle marks of many seasons lived. Like her grandmother before her, blindness wrapped her in a quiet embrace, yet her soul remained radiant, clearer, and more serene than the morning sky at dawn. In that village nestled between the mountains, where silence and solitude once reigned, children of all ages now ran to greet her. They gathered in a circle around her, eyes shining with curiosity and anticipation, begging the elder to tell once again the magical and sacred story, the story of the God who dwells in love. Selene smiled tenderly, her delicate fingers softly brushing the soft hair of the little ones, as if awakening a hidden light within them. With a calm, wise voice, she began, "You think God is far away, sitting on golden thrones or hiding in distant clouds up in the sky, don't you?" She chuckled gently, and their curious eyes grew wide. "But he is much closer than you imagine. God is in your hands when you reach out to help someone in need, even if it's just a small gesture. He is in your eyes when you look at another with true compassion, without judgment. He is in your voice when you choose to forgive and not hold grudges. God is spirit, the purest truth, and love in its fullest form." She paused, letting that teaching rest in every child's heart. Then added, her eyes sparkling, "If you want to find God, you don't have to look up into the infinite sky. Look inside yourselves, to the truest, most secret place in your being. There he waits, ready to be discovered." And so, in that hidden corner nestled deep in the mountains, where once fear and despair ruled, a new people was born. A people no longer guided by fear or guilt, but by the deep certainty that God is a loving and present Father. A people who understood that the greatest revelation of the divine is love, a love that transforms, heals wounds, lifts the fallen, and strengthens the weak. As one of the most revered scrolls from the Book of Wisdom that Selene cherished, proclaimed in ancient golden letters, "Love is God's supreme gift. It is the essence, the very nature of the Creator." And in that place, lost among snowy peaks and quiet valleys, this teaching echoed in the voices of children, in the smiles of the elders, and in the beat of every heart learning to love, and thus, to live fully. If you enjoyed this inspiring story and want to see more like it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That way, You won't miss any new content and you'll help our community grow. Leave a like to show you enjoyed it, and if you want, share in the comments what touched your heart the most, or what message you'd like to hear in upcoming stories. Your participation makes all the difference and strengthens this chain of love and hope. Thank you so much for being here. Together we are stronger.